Can I change my dependency status on the FAFSA? If you're filling out the FAFSA and wondering if you can change your dependency status, you're not alone. This is a crucial question because it affects the financial aid you might receive for college. To start, let's clarify what dependency status means on the FAFSA. When you fill out the form, you'll be classified as either a dependent or an independent student. If you're a dependent student, you'll need to provide your family's financial information, including your parents' income and assets. On the other hand, if you're an independent student, you only need to report your own financial information, and possibly your spouse's if you're married. Now here's the important part. You can't just decide for yourself whether you're independent or dependent. The FAFSA has specific questions that determine your status. For example, if you were born before January 1, 2001, are married, or are working on a master's or doctorate program, you might be considered independent. Other factors include being on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces, being a veteran, or having children who depend on you for support. But what if you feel that your assigned status is incorrect? Maybe you don't have contact with your parents, or you're in a situation where you're essentially self-supporting. In such cases, you can appeal your dependency status. To appeal, you need to contact the financial aid office at the school you're planning to attend. They have the authority to change your status from dependent to independent under certain circumstances. These circumstances are quite specific and usually involve unusual and compelling reasons. For instance, if you don't have any contact with your parents, or if your parents are incarcerated, incapacitated, or deceased, you might qualify for a status change. Other situations that might be approved include being a victim of human trafficking, having refugee or asylum status, or being an unaccompanied, self-supporting youth at risk of homelessness. However, there are situations that typically won't qualify for a status change. If your parents simply refuse to contribute to your education or won't provide the necessary information, that's usually not enough to change your status. Similarly, if your parents don't claim you on their tax returns or don't want to contribute financially, that won't automatically make you an independent student. If you think you have a valid reason to appeal, you'll need to provide detailed documentation to support your claim. This could include written summaries of your circumstances and supporting documents from professionals like teachers, social workers, or law enforcement. It's also important to note that, if your status change is approved, it might only be valid for 1 year, and you may need to repeat the process the following year. So, to answer your question, yes, you can change your dependency status on the FAFSA, but it requires specific circumstances and thorough documentation. Always reach out to your school's financial aid office to understand the process and see if you qualify.